That
And
staying safe is overrated, isn't it? Right?
exactly,
You know, we
exactly.
got
I have a
that.
saying. Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. My saying that I go with often is that I try not to live the same year twice, right?
Oh,
Why? It's
okay.
because, I mean, if I've been to a place or done a few things, I can go to the same place, yes, and I've gone to many places often and
Mm.
repeated different visits, but every time I leave with a new experience, because I intentionally try to orchestrate that and make sure that, a new experience it was had and.
Welcome to the David Leifeste Show, where we capture conversations with true pathfinders, people who crack the code on living their best life. I'm your host, David Leifeste, 40-year coach and counselor, and this is where we explore the possibility of you and the life you're searching for. This is the David Leifeste podcast, and I am a psychotherapist who spent 40 years having over 100,000 conversations with people from all walks of life. And I've been learning from them about how they get great lives. And when they hit hard spots, how to get out of those, how to help them kind of move through them, not only just to get over it, but to learn from it. Just as Julian was talking, life is a series of just things that constantly give us opportunities for learning. So if we take the hardship and the challenge, and we don't get shamed by it, and we don't get afraid to say, I need help with it. We just say, can somebody come in and help me learn from it? We'll get the gifts of so much wisdom and strength and greater insight about ourselves and about the empowerment that lies within us. So I'm excited today because I'm talking to my friend Julian, who is originally from a small country in Africa. Is that correct?
Yes. Togo, Togo. Yes. Small West African country.
If
Yes,
you
sir.
Togo to I think Paris when you were
Yes.
a young student. Your family moved to France. Is that right?
Indeed. Correct.
And so isn't that a cool thing? We have somebody who starts off in Togo, Africa, and then gets to Paris, France, two very exotic places. And then eventually you
then
end
Washington,
up
D.C.
DC. I mean,
Yes.
so love the juxtaposition of those cultures. And I think that so much of talk about learning, one of the things I've noticed in all the conversations I've had with people, and as I'm getting to know you, Julian, is the ability to get perspective on life.
Yes.
Oftentimes comes from juxtaposition of difference, so having the cultural background of Africa to Paris to DC, with you being an open-minded man, a curious man, a man who reads, a man who talks to people around wherever he is, who's always really learning, like you said, as a driving theme of your life. You're picking up on contrast. And what is a huge belief that I have in life is that so many of us do not put ourselves in position to have juxtaposition, to have contrast. And as a result, we have more of the same. We stay with people that are the same. We stay in the mindsets that are the same. We stay in the cultural ideals that are the same. And that prevents the contrasted experience, the expanded experience of difference that we can really have the ability to learn from. And more today than ever, I think we find that we all want to get with our people and we want to stay where it's safe and where it's familiar and where we know it. And what I think is really important to encourage each of you today who are watching with us and listening and in on our conversation with Julian and me is that we really encourage getting out of your comfort zone, getting away from what is familiar. If you have the opportunity to choose to do a different region for travel or for where you live, to take advantage of that, because that automatically sets up a regular contrasted experience, which wakens you up in ways you will not be awakened otherwise. And then in that waking, you are more conscientious. Your perspective is more clarified, and therefore your reality of what you understand becomes much more broadened, I would say.
I would say so, of course.
And so, Julian, you had that be your journey. I was fortunate because of your family's story. You had that but then you leveraged that and continued to make choices as an adult that continued your opportunities to be elsewhere around the world, I understand.
Exact. I mean, I've been, I would say fortunate, right, to have had a family who had a chance to, start from somewhere. And I think my superpower since my small age was just, again, that curiosity, but also to put myself in very uncomfortable situations. And I found that I'm much more comfortable when I am uncomfortable, which sounds like a cliche thing to say. A lot of people say that often, and I think the practice of that and how it feels me is why I'm saying it. It feels me because I truly can't I can't operate when I'm comfortable because I feel stuck. I feel like there's something that I'm not feeding a deeper part of my soul that is not being challenged. So I truly thrive in that, I call it small chaos, controllable chaos, a chaos of my own engineering that allows me to be in that position of challenge when I'm learning a new language, putting myself in a new culture, meeting new people, whatever the case may be, learning a new skill set, and just really go from there. And again, there's no map, but there's just the love for learning.
I love it because what also I'm hearing is that that takes courage. That says that I'm willing to be uncomfortable, not knowing what I'm doing, and feeling awkward, and maybe feeling inadequate, and that I will work through the uncomfortableness of inadequacy because you are naturally not adequate when you're first learning something.
Exactly.
And you're not competent. Right?
Not at all.
And
not confident in nothing. Yes.
Yeah. So you have to be really comfortable with feeling inadequate, being inadequate, being awkward, and just trusting in your ability to figure it out when you don't have any way of really being assured of that until you try. Right?
Yes.
And
And just going off of the fear, jumping off that cliff, taking that leap of faith of, believing in yourself and understanding that ultimately the goal is to, to embark on a journey, and that journey can lead you in many different, small corners of the world or of your brain, of yourself, really. I think it's more of a self-discovery thing than it is. I think the goal itself is just your own ability to learn, your own ability to want to discover more about your capabilities, because sometimes you find yourself in positions where you're having conversations like I'm here having with you, and you can have an imposter syndrome, like, wow, here I am. I mean, good old me, and I'm talking to David here, and how did my life get here, right? From a kid coming from West Africa, right? And I just went for it, and here I am, and let's see where this journey continues to go.
When you talk, I keep hearing about a life that keeps getting expanded, that it keeps becoming more, and that you discover things that you didn't know existed. And therefore, it stays more interesting, and it stays more challenging, and it brings hope of things yet to come, because that every time you do something different, there's something new that will happen, that it brings about different outcomes. And two of the things that I hear so much in our culture in America, which I refer to our culture in America, Julian, as a third world country of the soul, because so many of us, I don't feel, operate the way you do. And I think as a result, we don't take those challenges, we don't expand, and as a result, we stay in small boxes, and we stay bored, and we stay small, and we stay self-absorbed, and we stay in a very predictable life that you might
programmed
call,
a bit.
Like in a kind of a hamster wheel of sorts, and that 100% means you are not going anywhere. It's not going to get expanded. It's not going to get more interesting, and it's not going to bring hope of something new. And as a result, I think a lot of what happens in our culture when we can't get that expanded experience, which I think is the soul saying, hey, let me out. Let's go. Let's fly. Let's go see. Let's go explore. And it's the mind wanting to know more, the curiosity. When we block that, I think that boredom and that flatness causes a stagnation and a dying of the soul. And it kind of leads to a lot of people anesthetizing that pain of dying. So distraction through social media, distraction through, gambling, through alcohol and drugs, through overeating. And so as a result, here's a fabulous country called the United States of America, which is a miracle that a 250-year-old baby nation is as prosperous as it is. That we have hundreds of millions of people here that take drugs and eat too much to do their lives.
Unable to truly, no, I couldn't agree more. But with the level of obviously we come from a time of great technological advancement. We have access to plenty of things that I think my grandparents would have never dreamed of in a way. And I think that all of this stuff is being thrown to the side, with obviously, like everything you just listed there. And it's just, I think, like you said, a distraction, because people are somewhat afraid of facing themselves, facing their own fears, facing, the music that is standing in front of them. And ultimately, whether you like it or not, that death does occur before people die. Even like you mentioned, that death of the soul, once that starts occurring, really is the demise of your own existence at that point of view. So I love philosophy. I'm a big philosopher, and, I read Nietzsche and Dostoevsky growing up a lot, and, and Camus and all those people. And they just, it puts you in a position of like, you zoom in on things a little bit more. You get a little more existentialist in your life. And you start to meditate on death and what that looks like and what that means. And from that point of view, you start really understanding the pure reality of what this life is about, the pure chances that we have, or we all have day to day. And what we decide to do with that. And America is the beacon of that. And everyone that I know around the world, the smartest people I've met, want to come here, have been here, and have tried their luck here first. And this is what makes this country what it is, right? 250 years old, the youngest, I would say, civilization, one of the youngest ones, compared to China, Russia, whatever the case may be. But we'll figure it out in 250, somehow. It says something.
Yeah.
Yes.
I love all the people you mentioned, that you have read, that I can't even pronounce their names, but that you've obviously been very intentional as a reader, as a seeker, to go to wise men and go to the classics. And so one of my main tenets in my book is intentionality, that if we're going to have a life, we don't do it lackadaisically, and we don't do it thinking we know what we're doing. We need to seek and find the wisdom that has been provided. And these classic writers have, they're classics for a reason, but their philosophies have been tested. We can go back to Socrates and go back to Plato. And and so I love that you read that, and I love that you're always reading. I was going to say one of the things, there's I guess three things that I was going to mention about you is that you love to read, and you are always seeking that. You are also very big in your fashion, which I think is a fun thing. That you bring, I don't know if
an expression, yes.
Yes, I don't know if that's bringing Togo, Africa to us, and also your personality. But we all need a bit more Togo in our fashion, I would say. So there you go. fact, I wore my
And I'm loving your suit, by the way. Loving the suit, loving the whole ensemble.
I wanted to show you. I kind of put on my little linen outfit.
Bravo, bravo. Well done, well done. When I come to see you in person, we have to definitely, I'll be looking forward to stepping up my game there for sure. I just went really simple today.
I'll be going to your closet going, I'll take one of those and another.
No, easily, please.
I think it's interesting because what I'm getting from that is that you take your expression of yourself and you're letting it come out in your clothes, in your style, in your colors, in your culture. One of the tenets in the book is working from the inside out. It's being clear and true to you, and having that identity, that sense of self firmly established, confidently celebrated and expressed. And one of the ways is that I see with you is in your fashion.
Indeed.
So tell me about how this has emerged and how conscious and intentional are you, or is this just what all Togo people do?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it is a very, Togo, small country, very lively place, I'll say. Anytime if you were to visit, I think the first thing you see is many people enjoying life first and then doing the rest later, right? It's like, it's first life and then the rest, which is also a philosophy that is embraced in France, and Togo happened to be a French colony, which, I think that kind of like immersed together. And for me personally, growing up, it was just an idea of how do you find a way to, through everything that I've read, like you say, to live inside out, to show the world or to be yourself. No matter which room you walk in, you are yourself. You're not anybody else, and for me, fashion and just the way I dress, and it's a lifestyle, right? It's not, it comes to me really easily. I can walk into my closet or just walk into any department store or wherever the place I am and just kind of understand exactly, how I want to walk out of here and, what kind of energy I want to portray. But really it's an expression of myself. It makes me feel good. And I like the way I feel when I put myself in these certain aspects, different clothes. I change my style, seasonally at times, yearly at times. I don't make it predictable. Even in that regards, I try to be as intentionally challenged as possible, right? That's the key word there. And I continue to learn, I continue to grow and inspire myself as I go, from that point of view.
You've been as a corporate guy, I think currently you're doing a lot of work. You are going to be in places where a lot of people are what I call Stepford people. That is, just do it like the Stepford, there's just everybody looks the same and has the same house, the same outfit, the same, and it's just like, oh, how boring. Oh my God, get some originality. Please, this is making, and so you're in the midst of a lot of that, but you still come forth doing who Julian is. And,
exactly.
Has that
That's
been
the goal.
a problem? Has anyone ever told you to go change your clothes, young man? And
actually, no, I never really received that, because typically what I received has been more of, okay, where did you get this from? And, how did you come to make this, look good from your point of view, and how can that translate into my looks? And I'm like, I don't know. It's tough.
Advisor, and you're going, honey, this ain't gonna look the same on you. I just stick with what you got on.
Exactly, right? It's more, I'm like, well, it depends. But I actually, like Tulsa, for example, I really enjoyed my time there. It's a city that I always kind of hold dear to my heart, as far as like coming there, not having known too much about it. Just about 2 years ago, I was thinking about, okay, do I want to move to Serbia? I was thinking about just kind of, new place. I lived in Serbia before, and I was just kind of contemplating, kind of establishing myself there. And an opportunity came to join Hilti and work in Tulsa and move there and everything. And I did that. How I ended up meeting Michael as my neighbor. And honestly, it became also a journey, right? The people that I met, the hospitality that I received, it just felt incredible. But the sense, the fashion sense, a small town, in Oklahoma, out of all places, that also exuded the style of itself, exuded its uniqueness. Obviously, a very historically rich place as well. And for myself to find myself in that area and to be able to also thrive there and meet all these incredible people, again, nothing bad to say about this, about that city. And I look forward to calling it home for many years, as far as like coming there anytime, because every time I think I come to Tulsa, I feel like I'm home.
We're going to call you one of
and it feels great.
Whether you're living here or not. You're
not, right? Exactly. I feel Tulsa everywhere I go at this point.
Togo, Paris, Washington, Tulsa.
Exactly.
if there can be an NYU Tulsa, there can be a Julian Tulsa.
A Julian Tulsa, indeed. No, I love that, David. We'll make it happen. We'll make it happen more.
That's fantastic. Your traveling has been extensive, and we talked about the value of juxtaposition, of contrast, and culture. What would you say is the biggest selling point you could make for travel in terms of what you get from it, how you do it, and what we should be thinking about if we were to apply that? And take advantage of your advice and make those experiences happen.
Number one, less planning, more doing for people, right? I think when it comes to traveling, a lot of people, I think they overthink the whole process. It's especially my American friends here are very much, in Europe, it's a lot of people move, different countries as if you're moving across state lines here, right? Because, when you're in Europe, a lot of people speak at least 2-3 languages on average. English also being one of the baseline languages and whatnot. And I think in the US, like you mentioned earlier, it's, there's that comfort base that a lot of people just kind of, stick to. So when it comes to traveling, the way I see it is, just challenge yourself, pick a destination that is not advertised. Don't go to Paris, don't go to London, don't go to Vienna, go to Prague instead. Go to Poland, go to Krakow, go to Katowice, go to Wrocław. So those places where you can find yourself meeting just a local, going to their homes, having a dinner at their tables, having conversations and discussing just things that, you leave those places feeling richer in life, feeling, I don't know, at least I do, feeling joyous and understanding that ultimately I walk away from these experiences, that we are all the same, but some of the small differences that makes us different, we learn from each other from that point of view as well. So however I impacted them, they have impacted me maybe twice as much as well. So I think people should do, less thinking, more doing when it comes to traveling. Book that trip. Don't overthink it. If you have a weekend, even, if you're in Tulsa and you've never been to Kansas, take a road trip. If you've never been to Washington, D.C., come over on this side. You never know where you will meet on the way. So again, no advice here, but if you want to do it, just get it done.
And would you say that perhaps one of your biggest superpowers is how you engage people so that when you're in these places, you actually talk to them? I mean, on my trips, I'm on the plane and I'm that person that someone's going, oh my God. It's one of those, because I want to go. But I try to read their language to see if they're interested. But, is that my curiosity and my interest, my true interest in people, their stories, and my curious mind about what's going on in their lives, what people have lived through, what they're in right now, just drives me into conversation. And I keep coming out of that conversation going, gosh, that person is right now going through chemotherapy for fourth-stage brain tumor and is on their way back from MD Anderson. And that's the story that he's in right now. And he's been sitting here right next to me this whole time. Or been talking to this person and they're going down to, maybe have an experience of celebration of their great grandchildren. And she pulls out this picture of like 18 children and grandchildren. None of them in her life ever went to college, and like 6 of them now are college graduates. And you're going, oh my gosh, this is a celebration of multi-generational people overcoming Their set situations in life,
Yes.
And so
yes.
much is being missed when we don't engage.
We don't interact. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, I have a library of stories. And I mean, I think I've been traveling since the age of, I just went, I don't remember. And I mean, since then, right, it's just, you come across people that have this, and again, the fashion is also part of it, right? A lot of times they get drawn to maybe something that I have on. It could be a scarf. It could be anything, and then it's just kind of immediately.
One thing you'll say is fashion to get them to talk to you sometimes.
It could be that. It could be that, right?
Yeah.
That's one of the good strategies, right? Yeah. It's me being myself. Yeah. And I really enjoy people's also courage to be able to step into my space and say, hey, I like what you have here, or I'm curious, or hey, this looks excellent. Like, what is it that where did you get it from? And stuff like that. Things like that could have started, I've met some of my best friends now on the plane ride. And some people now that I have in my network that have been influential, that have become partners of mine. I've met them at airports. And it's just a shared idea towards curiosity, towards engaging of one another. And again, sharing those stories, because you never know who you're sitting next to. And until you say something or they say something to you, you're still in the strange world of just unknowns. So,
the book titled The Possibility of You, I think about how limiting we have been to the possibilities of us in our lives. And I get so much grief, I think, of all the times in the past when I talked myself out of talking to that person, right? Yeah. Or I said no to that invitation because I thought, I don't want to go alone, right? Or I've never been there before, right? Or whatever. And each one of those times could have been a game-changing relationship or piece of information or whatever. And so I'm just encouraging people to, when you operate in the OASIS method, which is, as you know, an acronym, and the O is open. And it's it's open yourself up to it, right? Open
to the world.
The door, right? Open, and then A is for analyzing it quickly, starting to really take in with observation, the information, the opportunity, the person. And then S, quickly pick into that spiritual sensing within you about what that gut read on it, right? Yeah. That leads to the I of what is the idea here? What is the direction, the gift here that leads to the S, the final S of a shift? Because I believe our lives are in a constant state of trying to shift, to expand things, to bigger, to more, to different, to more, to that next level, the higher level of frequency, that higher self.
Yes.
We're trying to shift. And so we've got to allow it in the first place, or we're going to stay in the small, stuck, locked up places that are depressing and just
closed off.
Closed off and not interesting. And that is a waste of a life. And life is so short.
It's so short. Yeah, so right. Short. It's this blip, right? And we need to, you don't choose where you're born. You don't choose when you die, but you do have this gap of, that you need to try to, again, open yourself up, like you say, to as many possibilities as possible. And that can only happen if you lean into that, the idea of just openness, more, and not shying away, right? And not putting yourself in the box, even yourself, you should be wanting to surprise yourself more and more.
And safe is overrated, isn't it? Right?
Exactly. I have a saying. Yeah. My saying that I go with often is that I try not to live the same year twice, right? Why? It's because, if I've been to a place or done a few things, I can go to the same place, yes, and I've gone to many places often and repeated different visits, but every time I leave with a new experience, because I intentionally try to orchestrate that and make sure that, that a new experience was had. And, I do like certain places when I go and I have my rituals of like, I go to this place, this coffee shop, this library, or, I go see this person. But ultimately, even in that, I always take the another, I surprise myself a little bit and to kind of bring a bit of magic. I always leave room for some magic to happen. And I think you should always leave room for that.
Yes. I had a post recently. My daughter and I have a TikTok called It's Therapy Dad. And I send her inspirations, and that It's Therapy Dad, then she puts it out to her people. And one of them was I was talking about how much of the magic of life happens in the margins. So I said the magic happens in the margins. So leave margins, leave space for, those kinds of things that you can stumble upon and discover that it's not so tight and it's not so routine and so predictable. And your blinders on, that you don't allow yourself to discover it. And
indeed.
Yes. So we called it the magic in the margins. So
I like that.
Yeah. And if I had you in my life when I finished the book, I would have put you on the cover as my poster boy in one of your office, because you've been exemplifying and living as organically what the model is trying to teach. And what I tried to do is I realized that a lot of people like you already know how to roll like that. That's just your nature. But the vast majority of people, it's not their nature. And so I was attempting to see if I could kind of create a design template and a process that would kind of make that. And then occasionally what I'm going to continue to do is find people like you, Julian, who will talk to me and talk to my audience and say, this is how it works when you apply those things, because this is who I am, this is how I live, and this is what a life looks like when you live it like this.
Indeed. It's both nature and nurture, right? You have to. It's innate to us, and I think this way of living, obviously, it's something that we all born with. It's just that along the way somewhere, it gets taken away by ourselves. Nobody else does it. It's just ourselves. Yes. And no more margins of magic are left. No more curiosity is left. It's just more about checking off the boxes. I went to school, I got the grades, got married, got the children, got the house, got this, got that, all excellent things. But there's just a little bit of, non-margin, left for any magic. So I think really going after that magic is important, and keeping that as protecting that as much as possible. In everything I do, whether it's work, whether it's fun, whatever I do, I protect the idea of keeping that room for magic open and keeping things as curious driven as possible.
That's awesome. That's for me. What happens is you don't get bored, and you because you're learning and you're expanding and you're having different, and you're on your toes for something that was a magical thing that you weren't expecting. And I think that the soul longs for that. And then as a result, you don't artificially manage the soul. Exactly. Because you don't use pseudo fixes, because you've got the real experiences happening in your life. And so we're encouraging people to believe in it, to be diligent to cultivate it, and to take responsibility and to really intentionally cultivate a life that lives with openness to that, because that's going to bring hope, that's going to bring expansion, and that's going to make things interesting, and that's going to make you a contributor. So you take the gifts of who you are, and you have now generously, you've got plenty left over to give to others, because you're not in a state of deprivation, you're not in a state of depression, you're not in a state of downward spiral, you're up and you're out. And you've got something to share. It's expanding, like you said. And people are not. And when you give from a place of filled, abundance. Exactly, abundance. There you go. You are constantly in the mode of abundance, and both the good and bad. By the way, obviously, for people, not to kind of confuse this. It's not every day. It's not you wake up and you just kind of pretend that life is too good. No. It's just you go after
all of it, all of it. You're open to all the experiences, and fail fast. I think if you want to do something, try it. If it doesn't work, great. Next thing, and fall in love with failing. I think it's ideal to do so. Success, I think, could be the easiest thing to do. Everyone can be successful in one way or another if you try something hard enough. But failing and loving to fail, I think that's a hard one to kind of come across.
Well, and I tell people the word fail has always gotten a bad rep. It just means basically I tried something a certain way and I did not get the outcome I was expecting.
Exactly.
And sometimes those outcomes were actually better or something more powerful to get than what I was looking for. So it's a matter of trial and error and just seeing what happens. And sometimes you got what you went for, sometimes you didn't at all. And sometimes you got something that was a miracle.
But you live with the experience itself of having tried say thing, right? Yeah. And part of even going back to traveling, sometimes you go to a place, you're like, it's not what I expected or what you didn't expect. But sometimes what you didn't expect is greater than what you expected, and then sometimes what you expected could be disappointing in itself. And you're like, but even in that disappointment, you're kind of seeing some certain things unravel within you and also within the experience that you're living. Again, abundance at all times, on both sides. So to me, it's just great. And I thrive in that level, and that's how I try to keep things going on a day-to-day basis. So,
well, I want to tell you, Julian, I love talking to you. I love hearing your voice, and I'm going to ask you for another time for you to talk to us some more, if you will.
Yeah.
Part of my format and just vision for the podcast is to have my guests come back regularly. Kind of like I've got a cast on my Seinfeld show, and you're one of my characters, or friends or something, right? And so we can continue to hear how your journey's unfolding and get to know you better. And in your case, get to hear you talk. Next time we'll have you speak in French, and then the next time in Spanish. And
my español un poquito. That's it. Got a little bit.
Mine is un poquito less. So So merci and au revoir and then gracias, and thank you so much for spending your afternoon with us. It was a total delight getting to know you today. We really appreciate you, and we'll look forward to having you back sometime soon in the future.
Thank you, David. This was a pleasure.
Thank you, sir. Bye.
Appreciate it. Bye-bye.
Thank you for joining me for this conversation. If you enjoyed the show, could you please like and subscribe so you never miss a new episode? And I'll see you next time.